We live in a complex world, not a complicated one, a complex one. That's not an academic statement, it is everyday practice, it is everyday experience. Everything is connected, cause and effect are no longer clearly separable. Decisions create side effects that cannot be planned in advance, and yet we keep pretending that this world can still be governed through linear models, rules and control. In response to complexity, we build more bureaucracy, more rules, more processes, more procedures, and more imposed constraints. These systems are meant to create safety, but in reality, they do something entirely different. They reduce agency. They take decision-making power away from the actual actors, the individuals who are supposed to probe, sense, and respond. That is what you do as an agent in a complex environment, in order to be successful and indeed in order to survive. This brings us to a key concept: agency. Agency is the ability of individuals to act intentionally, to decide in context, and to take responsibility. Bureaucratic systems systematically erode agency, not out of bad intent, not necessarily, but because of a flawed understanding of control. They treat people as interchangeable execution units. There is another fundamental error that amplifies this problem. We artificially separate people and their actions from tools, technologies, and systems, as if there was a clean boundary. There is not. We always act within socio-technical systems, and that means human judgment, individual capabilities, methods, tools and technologies, rules and structures are inseparably entangled. There is no purely human action, and there is no neutral technology. Everything is part of the same system. Bureaucratic systems are built on a false assumption that complex reality can be made controllable through rules and oversight. It cannot. In complex systems, more control does not create more stability. It creates rigidity, diffusion of responsibility, and as a result, loss of effectiveness, and ultimately a massive loss of agency. What we actually need are systems that enable agency. Systems with few clear constraints, high autonomy for individual agents, and responsibility where decisions are made. Not systems that strip people of their agency, but systems that deliberately release it. This is not a moral argument, and it's not a purely technological one. We are talking about a design problem. And there are methods that allow this way of thinking to be applied very quickly in practice. One of them is Auftragstaktik, or you might translate it as mission command. The principle is simple: define what needs to be achieved, not how it must be done. And this applies to people, to knowledge work, and just as much to AI. The distinction between what and how, very powerful. You leave the how to the executors of the task, to the people who have to deliver the results. And that gives them the ability to, act in complexity, to react to their environment. Anything else destroys agency. Those who define clear intent leave degrees of freedom and enable effective action. If we accept that we live in a complex socio-technical systems, then we must rethink organizations, not as bureaucratic control machines, but as frameworks for agency. And that means organizations must be designed for complexity from the very beginning. And this cannot be fixed retroactively. Designing for complexity is not the same as optimization of existing systems. The act of design itself even follows completely different rules. And that is exactly what we shall be talking about here. This is what this channel is about. Thank you.